Ashtaparishu Bhavateshu
Nitam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama
Shloke
Bhakti Bhavati Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 9th chapter, answers by citing the Lord's version. Text 8, no, text 7. Nishamya tad bhaktri didrikshaya disho vilokya tatranya apashamanaha swadhishnam asthaya bimrisha tad dhitam tapasi upadishta vibadhadhe manaha nishamya tad bhaktri didrikshaya disho bilakya tatranyadapashyamanaha swadhishnamastaya bimrishatadhitam tapasyupadishta vidadhate manaha nishammatad bhaktri didrikshaya disho bilokya tatranyadapashyamanaha swadhishnamastaya bimrishatadhitam tapasyupadishta ibadadhe manaha nishamya tad bhaktri didrikshaya drisho vilokya tatranyadapashyamanaha swadhishnamastaya bimrishatadhitam tapasyupadishta ibadadhe manaha nishamya, after hearing, tat, that, bhaktri, the speaker, didrikshaya, just to find out who spoke, dishaha, all sides, vilokya, seeing, tatra, there, anyat, any other, apashyamanaha, not to be found, swadhishnam, on his lotus seat, asthaya, sit down, bimrishya, thinking, tat, it, hitam, welfare, tapashi, in penance, upadishtaha, as he was instructed, eva, in pursuance of, adadadhe, gave, manaha, attention. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. Please repeat. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. So yesterday we were discussing about the method of memorizing the verses. You want to give it a try? When you come? Okay. So, let's see if we understand the meanings of the words. Nishamya means, how many of you remember? Yes, Ganganarayan?
Having a heart.
Yeah, after hearing. Not having the books open in front of you. Nishamya. Nishamya means after hearing. Tat means that. Nishamya, tat bhaktri. Yeah, bhaktri means speaker. Nishamya, tad bhaktri. So after hearing that sound, that what did Brahma hear? Which syllables are these? Which letters are these? From which varnas? Sparsha varna. 16 and 21st. Right? Tapaha. That's what he heard. So after Brahma heard that, Brahma what did he naturally do? He wanted to find out who spoke. So Nishamya Tad Bhaktri Didrikshaya. Didrikshaya means?
Desiring to see.
Yeah. Just to, desiring to see. Very good. Here Prabhupada is saying, just to find out who spoke. Didrikshaya. Drishya means to, drish means to see. Didrikshaya means just to find out. And dishaha means all sides. So what did Brahma do? Brahma looked in all four directions in order to find out who spoke that word. Didrikshaya, Nishamma tad bhaktri, Didrikshaya drisho. So Didrikshaya, everybody understand? Didrikshaya means just to find out. Disho means? Dik means what? Disha means? Disha means side. And Disho means plural of Disha. Disha is Disho.
He looked all the sides without moving his face.
Did he say that?
No, because he had 4.
Yeah, that's how he got 4 heads. Biloka means? Biloka. Now you see in Sanskrit, the nice thing is that every word has a very definite root. Biloka. Acha, now lochan means what? Eyes. And now you say that from the word lochan, what does eye do? See. Bilokya means? Biloka means? Having seen. It's seeing. Having seen. Seeing. So the word biloka is coming from which root? Lochan. Bilokya means seeing. Tatra, that's very simple. Tatra is there. Annat,
It's no other.
Any other. Apashyamanaha, apashyamanaha. The word apashyamanaha means not to be found. Not to be found. Apashyamanaha. Now this also is coming from a very definite root. Pashya means to, pash means to see. And pashya means to see. And awe means, awe is negative, negation, not. Apashya manaha, not being able to see or not being able to find anybody. Then swadhishnam. Swadhishnam. It's a swa means one's own, and dhishnam means seat. So where was Brahma's seat? The lotus. Swadhishnam. And then asthaya. Asthaya means sitting down. Swadhishnam, asthaya, bimrishya. Bimrishya also is stemming from the word mrish. Bimrishya means thinking. Bimrishya, thinking, thought, it. Hitam, heat, hitopadesh. Heat means benefit, welfare. Tapasi, in penance. Upadishta, as he was instructed. Adesh means instruction. Upadishta means as he was instructed. Eva, eva means eva, like, yes. But here Prabhupada is saying in pursuance. In pursuance. Adadhe, to give. Adadhe means to give in past tense. Dadati is to give, and adadhe is gave. Like apashat, adadhe. This word a or a is indicating past tense. And manaha means attention. So you got the words, meaning, you got the understanding of the verse. What is the meaning of the verse? Brahma heard the sound. After hearing the sound, Brahma wondered, who spoke this? So Brahma looked in all directions but couldn't find anybody. So then Brahma sat on his asan, his lotus asan, and he began to meditate or concentrate on the instruction. Okay. So what is the first word? Okay, nishamya. Don't look there. Then do you get Raga Pandit mein dekha? So nishamya, then does the rest of the line come? Yes, very good. Nishamma tad bhaktri. How many of you looked at the board? Nishamma tad bhaktri didrikshaya drisho. Okay, now the way to do it is, I will say it once and you will have to say it 3 times.
I remember the verse.
Wait till others remember it. Nishamya tad bhaktri didrikshaya drisho. 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 Okay, do you remember the line now? How many of you remember this line? Okay, those hands that didn't go up, I'll ask now. What about you, Radharani? You're so prominent because you're sitting there. And I see whatever you're doing. No, you're not putting your mind into it. Don't be lazy. Put your mind into it. Say it. Read it 3 times. Okay, now you look at me and say it. Okay, close. So this is how, if you make a little endeavor, you will be able to memorize. So you got the syllables a little mixed up, but otherwise, it was pretty close. Nishamya tad bhaktri. Okay, then what is the first word of the next line? Bilokya. Then do you get the next rest of the line? Bilokya. Bilokya tatranyad apashyamana. Bilokya bilokya tatra anyad apashyamana. Okay, you say this line.
Bilokya tatranyad apashyamana.
Okay. Maybe now I will ask Navadip. He's still looking at that. Look, okay, you looked at it for long enough. Yes, go ahead. Bilokya tatranyad apashyamana. Bilokya tatranyad apashyamana. Then the first word. Okay, now what is the first word of the first line? So how many of you remember just by hearing the first word? Okay, Brajakishore. Vilokya tadbhaktri. Very good. Vilokya tadbhaktri apashyamanaha. I'm sorry, Nisham. Then Bilokya Tatrannad Apashyamanaha. There's the second line. What's the first line? Nishamma Tadbhaktri Didrikshayadrisha. Then Bilokya Tatrannad Apashyamanaha. Then what is the first word of the third line? Shadhishnam Asthaya. Very good. Swadhishnam, Ganganan, you say it.
Swadhishnam asthaya vimishya tad hitam.
Swadhishnam asthaya vimishya tad hitam. Swadhishnam asthaya vimishya tad hitam. Swadhishnam asthaya vimishya tad hitam.
Say it. Yes. Shadhishnam asthaya bimrishya tadhitam. Bimrishya means, the word bimrishya. Bimrishya means thinking. Yeah, thinking. Or having thought also. Then the fourth line. The first word of fourth line. Tapashupadishta. Tapashi upadishta. Tapasi upadishta. These two words, when it becomes a sandhi, then what will happen? Tapasi and upadishta will become tapasyupadishta. Tapasyupadishta. Ibadadhe mana. Tapasya upadhishta ibadadhe mana. Tapasya upadhishta ibadadhe mana. Tapasya upadhishta. So you almost got this verse, although it's quite a long verse, but you almost got it, isn't it? Okay, so now the next step will be you write it down in a piece of paper. After the class, you make it a point to write it down on a piece of paper. And then keep that paper in your pocket. And those who don't have pockets, they can keep it in their bead bags. And then from time to time, you check whether you can remember the verse. If you can't, then pull out the paper and see it. And if you make an effort like this for a few times, you will be able to memorize the verse at the end of the day. Won't it be nice to make this effort? How many will you make this effort? Very good. Thank you. Gorvani, কি হলো? অনেক কাজ। হ্যাঁ? তুমি চেষ্টা করো। ঠিক আছে? So you'll notice it's not very difficult to memorize. Radharani, in spite of your difficulty in memorizing Sanskrit, tomorrow I'll ask you. Thank you. What about you, Rasuda? You memorized already? Okay. Now Krishnarchan said that he memorized it already. So now let us hear Krishnarchan recite the verse. You come here and look at them.
Nishamya tadvaktradidrikshaya disho Vilokya tatranyada pashyamanaha Svadhishnyamasthaya vimrishya tadhitam Tapasyupadishta ivadadhe manaha
Very good. So, a translation. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching in all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. So, we repeated the verse. All of you already have done that. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. To achieve success in life, one should follow the example of Lord Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of creation. After being initiated by the Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. And although he could not find anyone besides himself, he could rightly understand that the sound was transmitted by the Lord himself. Brahma was the only living being at that time because there was no other creation and none could be found there except himself. In the beginning of the first canto, in the first chapter, first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it has already been mentioned that Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. The Lord is within every living entity as the super soul, and he initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive the initiation. The Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. As already stated, Brahma is the original spiritual master for the universe, and since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciplic succession, and in order to receive the real message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link or spiritual master in the chain of disciplic succession. Just this point defeats the Ritvikwad. Specifically pointing out, one has to approach the current link. The current link means one who is present on the planet. After being initiated by the proper spiritual master in that chain of succession, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasa, in the execution of devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma, to be initiated directly by the Lord from inside, because in the present age no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahma. The post of Brahma to officiate in the creation of the universe is offered to the most pure living being. And unless one is so qualified, one cannot expect to be treated like Brahmaji directly. But one can have the same facility through unalloyed devotees of the Lord, through scriptural instructions as revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam especially, and also through the bona fide spiritual master available to the sincere soul. The Lord himself appears as a spiritual master to a person who is sincere in heart about serving the Lord. Therefore, the bona fide spiritual master who happens to meet the sincere devotee should be accepted as the most confidential and beloved representative of the Lord. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it may be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of the Lord. So what Prabhupada is pointing out here in the purport, that when one becomes sincere enough to receive the spiritual knowledge, then the Lord reciprocates. Just as when Brahma became sincerely eager to receive the transcendental knowledge, the Lord accepted him as his disciple, and he instructed him from within his heart. But then Prabhupada is pointing out that when one becomes eligible, when one receives the grace of the Lord, then the Lord arranges for him to come across a bona fide spiritual master. A spiritual master who is present. And by coming in contact with the spiritual master, one can receive the knowledge. And then Prabhupada is pointing out that one should not think that he is in the same level as Brahma, and he can directly receive initiation from the Lord within. Some people can do that, like Lord Brahma can do that because he is very pure. It depends upon the purity of the individual. If an individual is pure enough, then yes, he can receive direct communion with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be instructed by him from within. But most of us are not pure enough to receive a direct communication with the Lord. Therefore, we have to search for a spiritual master who is present, a search for a spiritual master who is in a disciplic succession. And what is the meaning of disciplic succession? This knowledge is being imparted in a continuous chain of disciple and spiritual master. Spiritual master and disciple. That is the custom. Like when one becomes a spiritual master, he preaches. he imparts the knowledge to others. He makes it a point that I will teach others also, not just keep it within myself. So he imparts the knowledge to a qualified devotee, qualified candidate, qualified student. And then in the course of time, the qualified student becomes a spiritual master and imparts the knowledge to his students. So this this succession of spiritual master and disciple is called the disciplic succession. Succession means one after the other. Succeed. When one succeeds, the proceeding candidate succeeds the preceding individual. The one before gives it to the one after. Then he gives it to the one after. And in this way there is a chain. Chain of disciplic succession. So, and this knowledge is imparted by this process in this way by the people, by the spiritual personalities, the devotees, to the people around him. Now, I mentioned about the Ritvikwad. How many of you are acquainted with this Ritvikwad philosophy or Ritvikwad proponents? Oh, you don't know about Ritvikwad. Fortunate souls. Ritvikwad, you know Ritvikwad, Radharani? Why didn't you raise your hand? We did. Okay. Malini, you know Ritvikwad? You raised your hand? Within your chadar? Because I noticed so few hands went up. Shamangi, you know about Ritvikwad? No.
A particular person empowered by the spiritual master to give initiation.
Yeah, that is fine. That is fine. But Ritvikwad is one philosophy that is floating around in some corners, who are mainly individuals who defected from ISKCON, who left ISKCON, and they are saying that Prabhupada is the only guru. Prabhupada will continue to give initiation and no one is qualified to be a guru. Now, does this purport of Prabhupada doesn't Prabhupada, this purport smash that concept? Sitaram, you're acquainted with Ritvikwad? Very much. So, what do you think? Does this purport of Srila Prabhupada?
So many places.
So many places. But this one, but since we are dealing with this one, like Prabhupada is specifically pointing out that one has to find a spiritual master who is present so that he can receive the knowledge from him. And Prabhupada also is saying that it is possible to receive the knowledge from somebody who is not present, that we cannot see. Yes, spiritual personalities are present all time. The spiritual personalities never leave, they never die. The spiritual personalities are eternally present. But we cannot communicate with them when they leave the planet. Like Prabhupada is present, but can we directly communicate with Srila Prabhupada? Can we ask Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, what should I do in a situation like this? Can we ask? And get the answer from Srila Prabhupada? Yes, we can, provided we are pure enough. Pure enough, when we become pure, then we become free from material contamination, and then we have become situated in the spiritual platform. Then we communicate with the spiritual personality. When we become free from all material contamination, then we can communicate with a spiritual personality, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and devotees who are aprokot, who are not present. Like for example, when we become pure devotees, then yes, we will see Rupa Goswami, we will see Sanatana Goswami, we will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we will see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we will see Bhakti Vinod Thakur, we will see Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we will see Srila Prabhupada. Because they all are there with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if when we become purified, then yes, we will go to that platform and we will be able to communicate with them. But when we are not pure, then what do we need? We need to hear and get the instructions from somebody who is present on the planet. And also, the qualification of a bona fide spiritual master is that he creates bona fide disciples. Now that is another defect with the Ritvic concept. They are saying that Prabhupada is a pure devotee, but he could not make a qualified disciple, a single one. See, Prabhupada is such a failure, the way they are presenting. What is the qualification of a bona fide spiritual master? What is the qualification of a qualified teacher? He makes others qualified by his teachings. Now, if we say that Prabhupada was a qualified teacher who could not make a single qualified student, then what does it mean? Aren't they saying that Prabhupada was a failure? So through their proposal, they are actually not glorifying Srila Prabhupada, they are actually demeaning Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, this point I just brought up because sometimes it becomes a big issue. Many people do get affected by that and they get carried away. And the result is, the first thing is they become envious of the devotees. Now that's the first offense, the most dangerous offense, Vaishnava Aparad. You become offensive to the devotees, the Vaishnavas, so what will be the result? You won't receive the mercy of the holy name. Your devotional creeper will be destroyed. The process has been so wonderfully established by Krishna himself. So why should we disregard this process? Krishna established this disciplic succession. And he himself comes and honors the disciplic succession. Otherwise, why does Krishna have to take initiation from anybody? Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have to take initiation from anybody? Why did he do that? Loka shikshartham, in order to teach the mass. In order to make everybody understand the process and accept the process, the Lord acts in a certain way. The question arises, why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take initiation from Ishwar Puri? Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take initiation from Ishwar Puri? Was there any need for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to receive transcendental knowledge? He is the Lord himself. He is the giver of the transcendental knowledge. He is the Adi Guru himself. Why is he taking initiation? In order to establish the custom. So that nobody should think that, well, I don't need to take initiation. Or no one is qualified to give me initiation. I am so big that I'm not, no one is qualified to be my guru. At least I can surrender to Srila Prabhupada because he appears to be a pure devotee. Although I haven't seen him, so he must be a pure devotee because I haven't seen him. If they saw Srila Prabhupada, then they would find faults with Prabhupada also. Prabhupada used to say, actually some people ask Prabhupada, the pure devotee is perfect, but we see that the pure devotee is wearing glasses. So isn't that imperfection? And also, some pure, even during Prabhupada's time, not that many, but few devotees even left Srila Prabhupada's shelter and went away. And Prabhupada gave them the blessings. But the blessings actually meant that yes, I'm blessing you that you can go to hell. Not that Prabhupada said that. Prabhupada said that yes, if you want you can go. But what did it mean? They are getting the mercy from a pure devotee who was sent by not only a representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was specifically sent by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish his mission on this planet. And they thought that Prabhupada was not good enough. So what will happen to them? The Lord's special mercy came down to deliver them, and he was not good enough for them. So what will happen to them? They'll naturally go to hell. They thought that they were such big scholars that they needed a better guru than Srila Prabhupada. And they went and found cheaters and the cheated. Those who want to become cheated, they'll find a cheater. But those who are sincere about their spiritual life, they'll receive the mercy of the Lord. So that when one comes across a bona fide spiritual master, it is actually a display of the mercy of the Lord. As Prabhupada pointed out in his last sentence of this purport. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it may be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of the Lord. When one comes across a bona fide spiritual master and is placed under his guidance, when he accepts the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it has to be understood that he has received the grace of the Lord, the favor of the Lord, the mercy of the Lord. That is the way the Lord is displaying his mercy upon them. And what will a bona fide spiritual master do? A bona fide spiritual master will guide you in the right path. He will engage you in the service of the Lord. He will impart the spiritual knowledge unto you. And he will smash you when you become a nonsense. When you deviate from the path, the bona fide spiritual master will smash you and bring you back to the right path. And if you think, why is he chastising me? I should go somewhere else. Then what will happen? The qualification of a candidate, qualification of a disciple is that he is prepared to accept the chastisement of the spiritual master. That's the meaning of the word shishya. The word shishya means, the Sanskrit word for disciple is shishya. Shishya means one who is prepared to accept the shashan. Shashan means chastisement. Shashan means correction. When you go to a school and you make a mistake, then what will your teacher do? Will the teacher say, oh, good boy, and come and I'll embrace you? Will the teacher do that, or he'll chastise you in order to correct you? So if you want to become a bona fide disciple, a qualified candidate for spiritual life, then be prepared for chastisement. Even if you think that you are being chastised for no rhyme or reason, still you accept it. You don't know how Prabhupada used to chastise. And sometimes Prabhupada would chastise me, and I would think, why Prabhupada is chastising me? I didn't do anything, why did Prabhupada do that? But I must tell you that I was happy when Prabhupada chastised me. It was so wonderful. Although at that time, it sounded heavy. But then later on I began to realize that it's Prabhupada's mercy. And we notice sometimes Prabhupada will chastise you to teach somebody else. Prabhupada, you would chastise so heavy. You see, Tamal Krishna Maharaj was famous for being heavy. He himself was very heavy. And Prabhupada would chastise him so heavily. And he accepted that. And sometimes Prabhupada didn't chastise somebody. One very senior devotee once told me, Prabhupada never chastised him. And I could reflect that Prabhupada didn't chastise you because you couldn't take that chastisement. Prabhupada knew that you won't be able to take the chastisement. Therefore he didn't chastise you. It's not that Prabhupada didn't chastise him. I saw myself. Prabhupada was quite heavy, but didn't shout at him, but Prabhupada said it in soft words. He was not taking any responsibility, and he was just traveling around. And Prabhupada called him, and Prabhupada told him to take up some responsibility. And then Prabhupada said, a rolling stone gathers no moss. So Prabhupada gave him the instruction to settle down somewhere and take responsibility. Krishna consciousness is not a holiday, going around on a world tour, just traveling around without doing anything. Prabhupada wanted devotees to get involved, do things, and be responsible. Those who did that, Prabhupada was happy with them. So spiritual life is a serious business. What is the ultimate consideration for spiritual life? It's purification of the heart. We have Maya and we have Krishna. Maya means doing things for our sense gratification. And Krishna consciousness means doing things for Krishna's pleasure. Our natural tendency is to do things for our sense gratification. But what we must do things for Krishna's pleasure instead of doing it for our sense gratification. This is a simple process. And when the spiritual master sees, or your leaders, your guides, senior devotees see that you are not really becoming serious about your service to Krishna, then they will correct you. They'll tell you, why are you doing it for your sense gratification? Do it for Krishna. Do it for Krishna's pleasure. And you're speaking about sense gratification. You're speaking about enjoyment. You can't imagine what kind of enjoyment you will get when you serve Krishna. Actually, you don't realize that your endeavor for sense gratification is not going to give you pleasure. Your endeavor for sense gratification, what will it give? Your endeavor for sense gratification will give you misery, will lead you to suffering. Go ahead and try to enjoy and come back after 6 months. Sometimes I do that. I push the devotees. Okay, if you feel that it's not good enough, then go out and see for yourself. Go out. Go try to enjoy. Go try to become independent. And then what happens? Don't we see that many of them come back? They're coming back. And when they come back, they become more serious. Because they see that outside what they're getting is just suffering, just misery. So recognize that fact, that if you really want to enjoy, serve Krishna. If you really want to become happy, serve Krishna. If you really want to be successful in your life, serve Krishna. And you'll see what the reward is. The reward is going to be so wonderful. So become serious in your spiritual life for the sake of your own benefit. Just the word as has been Shushrushaya tad hitam. Hitam. Hitam means benefit. So for the sake of your own benefit, you practice this process. For your own benefit, become serious about your spiritual life. For your own benefit, offer yourself to Krishna. For the sake of your own benefit, offer everything that you have to Krishna. And you will see for yourself. The more you give to Krishna, the more you'll get. The householders may think, what's Guru Maharaj saying? If I give everything, then how will I maintain my family? At least in this community, I can tell you that those of you who are offering yourselves to Krishna, I will take responsibility for you. You don't have to worry about your family. And the brahmacharis become fixed up. No more running after women. Brahmachari means just offer yourself to Krishna. That was one of the first instructions to me that Srila Prabhupada gave. Don't get involved with any woman. Just offer this life to Krishna. And then Prabhupada said, see what happens. And even if nothing happens, it's just one life out of so many. If we offer one life out of so many lives to Krishna, what's the loss? Even if it is a failure, so what? At least one life will go to waste. Why you are saying this? Brahmachari shouldn't run after women? Because that is the most severe bondage created by Maya. Attraction for opposite sex. This attraction for opposite sex is the chain with which everyone is tied down to the material nature. This material nature is a prison house. In prison house, what happens to the prisoners? Not only there is a big wall, those who are very hardcore criminals, what do they do? What are they? They are tied up. Even inside the prison house, they are tied down with chains. Now in this material nature, with what kind of chain we are tied down? With what kind of chain we are tied down?
Sex desire.
The chain of sex desire. So as long as you have sex desire, are you free? Will you be able to free? No. You will remain tied down to the material nature. It's a very subtle chain. It's not outside, it's inside. Hridaya Granthi. Granthi means knot. Right? With this chain there is knots tied up with the knots. So those knots are the knots of sex desire. Or attachments through sex desire. Of course, that doesn't mean that one should be irresponsible. The householders should not be irresponsible. They should be responsible without attachment. Responsibility is one thing, attachment is another thing. Be responsible without attachment. Yes, take care of your wife, take care of your children, so that they become good devotees. But not that, oh, my wife, oh, my husband. No. Be very detached. Like in that respect, I remember a very wonderful example was cited by our very wonderful God brother, His Holiness Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Gaur Govinda Maharaj's son was in the ashram. But he was just like any other devotee. Nobody, at least I used to go to the temple and I used to see the boy, but for a long time I didn't have any idea that he was Gaur Govinda Maharaj's son. So that is how detached he was. You're my son, so what? Be like any other devotee in the temple. Not that because you are my son you're going to get a special treatment, that I am your father. So that is how one should be detached. Concerned about the spiritual advancement, but detached in the heart. So that is how we have to make progress in our spiritual life. Take this process very seriously, without any doubt that this process will work. Just follow this process, practice this process, and you will see how it works. You yourself will see how wonderfully it works. Hare Krishna, Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. Does anybody have any question? Yes.
What means to serve the Krishna?
What means to serve Krishna? To serve Krishna means to serve Krishna.
What activities?
Yeah. The best way to serve Krishna is by chanting His name. That's the best way to chant. Right? Chant His holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because Krishna appeared in this age in the form of His holy name. So start it in that way. And then you will see how to serve. And then if you really want to serve, you can come to a temple and ask the senior devotees or the temple president, can I do some seva for the temple? Can I do something? And as according to your ability, they'll give you some service. But the first and foremost service is to chant the holy name of the Lord. And you are chanting, so you started your service. Rest will happen. Sincerely chant.
Maharaj, Srila Bhagavatam Maharaj used to say that I am always hearing from the spiritual master. How is it that person always, like he's saying, like at every moment I am hearing from the spiritual master. How do we understand this?
Yeah, that is, he is always, whatever he is doing according to his spiritual master's instructions. And if he has any question, he asks. And the spiritual master from within, he responds. The spiritual master is present. If you have any doubt, not that when spiritual master is present, you ask your super soul, the spiritual master in the heart, but when the spiritual master is not physically present, then one can do that. And in this way, one can feel the presence of the spiritual master all the time.
His Holiness Gaur Govinda Swami also in his assessment of the verse Tadvidi Pranipatina analytically defeated the Ritviks by just using every aspect of that verse, and because there were so many elements inside it,
Right.
gives such clear indication of the process.
Right. Yeah.
My question is that Lord Brahma automatically accepted that the sound vibration was transcendental. At that time, Brahma had no knowledge of transcendence. How then could he how could he accept that this is a God-like voice? From what point of view did he decide that it was the voice of God?
Yeah. You see, the Lord inspires from within. That He is from within, He is Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Riddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. He is situated in everyone's heart. And Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam cha. The Lord actually from within gives us the memory and takes away the also remembrance. So it's the Lord that who is guiding us from within. After all, the consciousness is coming from Him only. So along with the consciousness comes also the inspiration. That's why one of the main aspects of Gayatri Mantra is Prachodayat, the inspiration. The Lord is inspiring. And through this inspiration, He is actually guiding us. So when Brahma got that, you see that he was inspired to perform the austerity. Right? That sound led him to that understanding. Right? And that understanding actually led him to internalize himself. And that is actually the meaning of austerity. The senses naturally want to go towards the objects of the senses. To curb the tendency is actually austerity. Yes, Brajkishore and then I'll take it.
एक विचार शेयर करना चाहता हूँ और एक प्रश्न है। पहले विचार, मैं पिछली बार राधाष्टमी पे जब मैं वृंदावन में था तो एक प्रभुपाद के डिसाइपल थे, हालांकि मैं उनको पहले से नहीं जानता था। जब मैंने पूछा किसी से तो ये पता लगा कि मैंने उनको प्रणाम किया, और प्रणाम करने के बाद उनसे मैंने एक बात पूछी कि मैं ऐसा क्या करूं जिससे मैं भक्ति में आगे बढ़ सकता हूं। तो उन्होंने मुझे एक बात कही कि अपने गुरु को कभी भी हल्का मत समझना, उनकी हर बात को बहुत सीरियसली लेना। और इतना कहते ही उनकी आंखों से 2 आंसू टपक गए थे। तो उस वक्त मुझे लगा कि इस बात को मुझे लगता था कि इसको मैं यहाँ शेयर करूँ। और दूसरा, जब हम किसी को,
उनको नाम पता है?
वो नाम मैं काफी देर से कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, याद नहीं आ रहा मुझे।
अच्छा।
और उनकी उम्र 65 साल के आसपास है। और अब मैं जब भी उनको देखता हूँ तो मैं उनसे मिलता हूँ।
अच्छा।
वो पूछते हैं कि हाँ कैसा चल रहा है।
अच्छा।
तब मेरा
वृंदावन में रहते हैं?
हाँ, वृंदावन में रहते हैं।
अच्छा।
तब मेरी उस समय दीक्षा नहीं हुई थी।
अच्छा।
तो उनको पता भी नहीं था कि मेरी दीक्षा हुई है कि नहीं हुई है। परंतु उन्होंने एक बात मुझसे कही थी, स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर को लाइटली कभी मत लेना, क्योंकि उनके साथ कुछ ऐसा ही हुआ है। उन्होंने प्रभुपाद को थोड़ा सा लाइटली लिया था, जिसकी वजह से अपने गॉड ब्रदर्स को आज वो कहाँ देखते हैं और वो खुद कहाँ है। सिंपल एक डिवोटी होकर रह गए हैं वो, जबकि वो कुछ भी हो सकते थे इस समय। ये वाली कसक उनको उनके हृदय में बहुत परेशान करती है। वही उन्होंने
भारतीय।
हाँ, यस, भारतीय। दूसरा, जब हम किसी को प्रीच करने का प्रयास करते हैं तो उस वक्त वो डिफरेंट उससे आए हुए हैं, वो पहले से ही भक्ति में कहीं ना कहीं हैं, वो कुछ कर रहे हैं, पर जब वो यहाँ आ गए तो उनको यहाँ पर बहुत अच्छा लगता है।
कौन? अच्छा।
उन्हें यहाँ अच्छा तो बहुत लगता है, परंतु जब हम उनको कहते हैं कि आप ऐसा कीजिए तो पुराना जो उनके पास है वो उसको छोड़ना नहीं चाहते, वो उसको भी अपने साथ रखना चाहते हैं। और इधर वो आते तो हैं, उन्हें अच्छा तो लगता है, पर उसको स्वीकार नहीं करते हैं।
तो ये होगा, हाँ, ये होगा, क्योंकि पहले क्या होगा? टग ऑफ वॉर। हाँ, माया और कृष्ण के बीच टग ऑफ वॉर होगा। कब इन लोगों ने चाहते हैं कि माया खींच रहा है कृष्ण की ओर आने के, हाँ, प्रतिबंध के रूप में, और कृष्ण भक्त के रूप में तुम उसको इस तरफ खींचो। तो इस टग ऑफ वॉर में अल्टीमेटली कौन जीतेगा? तो कोशिश करते रहो, टग ऑफ वॉर लेते। हाँ, ठीक है। Chanting the
Riches of Veda, words of Vedas.
words of Vedas.
They are also called Ritvik.
No, ऋत्विक तो वो तो ठीक ही है, हाँ. जैसे यज्ञ में, हाँ, यज्ञ करने वाला कोई ऐसे ये होता है, हाँ. लाइक एक है ऋत्विक, जो मूल जो यज्ञ करने वाला है उसके प्रतिनिधि के रूप में आग में घी डालते हैं या कोई काम करते हैं, हाँ. तो ये उसको ऋत्विक कहा जाता है. मतलब ऋत्विक का मतलब है रिप्रेजेंटेटिव, प्रतिनिधि. तो ऋत्विक ऐसे ऋत्विक तो है, बल्कि इस्कॉन में ये एक भावना आया, हाँ, कि शिल प्रभुपाद ही, ये वो तो बात सही है, उसमें कोई हर्जा नहीं है, हाँ, कि मूल, हाँ, गुरु इस्कॉन में शिल प्रभुपाद है और बाकी सब उनका प्रतिनिधि है. उसमें कोई हर्जा नहीं है. ये विचार तो सभी मानेंगे. बल्कि उसका मुश्किल ये हो रहा है कि उनका विचार में प्रभुपाद ही दीक्षा देते रहेंगे और कोई दीक्षा देने का लायक नहीं है. तो गुरु परंपरा जो है, तो इसका विचार तो वो ये होता है, उस विचार तो टूट रहा है इसमें. प्रभुपाद ही केवल दीक्षा देते रहेंगे. यद्यपि दीक्षा जो है ये दीक्षा विधि है, और विधि ये है कि जो उपस्थित है, जो वर्तमान है, उनसे मंत्र लेना. जैसे दीक्षा में क्या होता है, मंत्र देते हैं, तो मंत्र हमको सुनना होगा. तो जो यहां उपस्थित नहीं है उससे हम मंत्र कैसे प्राप्त होंगे? वो शायद बोलेंगे ठीक है टेप रिकॉर्डर में है. तो असल बात देखो, श्रद्धा जो है, हम जितना आगे बढ़ेंगे श्रद्धा उतना ही बढ़ता रहेगा. तो ये मैं केवल कृष्ण को मानूंगा और किसी को नहीं, कोई नहीं, ये कनिष्ठ अधिकारी जो है उसका संज्ञा क्या है, उसका डेफिनेशन क्या है? कनिष्ठ अधिकारी का डेफिनेशन है कि वो कृष्ण को मानते हैं पर कृष्ण को भक्तों को नहीं पहचानते. यह है कनिष्ठ अधिकारी. इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब यह है कि कृष्ण को मानता है और सोचता है कि वही केवल कृष्ण का भक्त है और कोई भक्त नहीं है. हाँ, कृष्ण ही केवल, यह है वही केवल कृष्ण का भक्त है और कोई भक्त नहीं. बल्कि जितना आगे बढ़ते जाता रहता है उतना ही वो कृष्ण भक्तों को पहचानते हैं. तो ये विचार वैसा ही हो रहा है. हाँ, प्रभुपाद को मानते हैं पर भक्तों को नहीं पहचानते हैं. और कोई भक्त नहीं है, केवल मैं ही भक्त हूं. ये कनिष्ठ अधिकारी का विचार है. बल्कि जितना उत्तम अधिकारी होते रहेंगे, जैसे उन्होंने जिनके बारे में कह रहे थे, उन्होंने सोच रहे हैं कि सब प्रभुपाद के भक्त बन गए, मैं केवल प्रभुपाद का भक्त नहीं बन सका. तो वैसे ही जितना हम आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे उतना ही ऐसा भावना प्रकाश होता रहेगा कि हाय, मैं तो प्रभुपाद को भक्त नहीं बन सका, मैं तो प्रभुपाद का सेवा नहीं कर सका. जितना भी सेवा हम करेंगे उतना ही ऐसा मालूम होगा कि मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूं. Okay, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Premanande.